Good to have you on the show. I'm your host, Mamuzo Nwokoro, and it's a new year. Oh, yeah. This is a time of the year where ambitions are high and the conversations are mostly about goal setting, New Year resolutions, and the list of do's and don'ts. But only about 8% of people who actually set New Year resolutions achieve them, according to statistics. Yep, most resolutions fizzle out by mid February. So, rather than talk about planning, goal setting, and resolutions, we are focusing on care. Care sets the foundation to drive ambition or motivation to achieve goals. Because if you're not planted in the right environment and nourished with the right support, all of those goals could fall like a pack of cards. For example, students who feel supported are more likely to engage and thrive both academically and personally because care directly impacts success. Here at Conestoga, we are committed to helping students navigate challenges with confidence and foster a sense of belonging across our college community. So today, we brought in two passionate case managers from our CAT team to discuss the support networks and resources available within this community to help you reach your potential. It's your community show, Your Conestoga Today. Please grab a seat. Now, we're so excited to have you both with us in the studio today, Melissa Rudy and Lauryn Kwong. Now, these two have been here for quite a while. They understand students' life, the hustle and bustle of everyday student experiences, and they're here to help us see through their eyes what the care culture is here at Conestoga College. How are you guys feeling being here in the studio today?
Excited.
Yeah.
That's fine. Oh, good. So if you're excited as I am, let's dive right into today's conversation. Now, it's the new year, and you know what comes with the new year. Students are setting goals and making resolutions, and they want this year to be the best year yet. And we also understand that student life can be fun sometimes, but also overwhelming. How do you help students who feel stuck, maybe they feel depressed, or they feel overwhelmed by the daily grind of students' life?
That's a good question. So those folks who land with us, part of what we do is look at a network of support. So you have goals, but we want to know that. We want to create a team of people that can help you reach those goals. Lauryn and I will assess like risks and stuff like that about our students, but ultimately our goal is to help our students reach their goals.
Yeah, and I think building off of what Melissa said is I think it's a reassurance to the students, way. And for folks that are coming in, maybe it's their first time at school and it is an adjustment. And I think it's normalizing some of the experiences that they're going to go through when they're adjusting to a new environment or meeting new people, because that's scary. And so our role is to really reassure them, and we focus on strength-based. So reassuring that student that you can do this, you have all the tools that you need, and we're here to walk alongside you to provide extra guidance and advisements, as you adjust to things. So, yeah, I would say that's what we're here for.
I appreciate that this is a great way to start this conversation, because now we're going to piece by piece understand the work that you do here at the college. So let's start with crisis intervention, because that's a big part of some of the things that international students especially go through. It's a new environment for them. They're trying to make new friends, find community, find connection. And sometimes, the whole pack of settlements can be a lot. It can take a toll on a student. Let's look at a clear scenario. A student is struggling with financing, for instance, payment of tuition fees, maybe accommodation. How would you, or how does your team provide resources to support that student who might be navigating financial crisis?
Yeah, that's a really great question. A very large part of our role is to do a lot of collaboration with the resources at the college.
Nice.
So specifically talking about international students, international student services do a lot of planning for students' arrival to land here. And when they get here, they're doing a lot of that pre-planning. So here's how to find housing, and here's how to plan for finances. So a lot of that work is already done before they get here. And so then we talk about crises, right? And when Melissa and I intervene, we're doing a lot of connecting back to those resources, so such as international student services. We also work very closely with our residences, both on campus and off campus. And then our registrar's office. So we also will communicate between the student and the registrar office, helping bridge that connection to their office to provide some planning around whether it's related to tuition and fees. And then we also, I feel like I'm missing something, resource.
I don't think so. You named all the ones I was. Yeah.
You see, she said you nailed it. That's great. So I like how you spoke about soft landing, because usually when people come from other countries, they don't want to go through the natural grind of trying to find housing. If they already know where they're coming to, there's a place for them to stay. That takes away, the first shocker that they usually would encounter when it comes to new environments. And I also like that you mentioned that you are like a go-between, a bridge between the numerous resources we have here at the college, helping students find, how connecting students with these resources and how to, maximize the opportunities that you provide. Now, what about accessibility needs for those who are disabled, those who need special care and attention? What exactly do you do? How do you support those people?
Yeah, that's a great question.
Oh, Melissa.
I work with accessible learning too, so that's why this kind of is a passion thing for us. So students with disabilities, that might look like a developmental disability. And in a lot of cases, the folks who land with us with disabilities are mental health disabilities. So, for example, a student who has been hospitalized because of a mental health condition, they might land with us. And we work very closely with accessible learning who support our students with disabilities, including mental health. So a lot of collaboration with that team. The intake coordinator there is really great about working with us to get our students in a timely manner. We work very closely with the advisors. So ultimately, with our role, we do a lot of collaborating around the college, and accessible learning is a huge partner for us.
This is great. Now, I recently learned, I should say this maybe off camera, but Conestoga is the largest college in Canada.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's no surprise because I also schooled here, and I can tell you we have diverse students, people from different backgrounds, ethnic groups, and nationalities here. And my question to you is, and then that is just only one part of the piece, because you also have people from different binary groups and what have you. So how do you create an inclusive environment for those who are members of the LGBTQ plus community, those from Nigeria, those from Europe, those from Asia? How do you create a sense of inclusivity amongst this group and ensure that everyone has customized care?
So from a foundation point, the college does offer support staff and faculty training around cultural diversity, just an opportunity to learn about how to interact with people, when you have difficulty understanding their accent, when different priorities, right? So that's a wonderful training that we have been able to take part in. Really, it's about meeting a student where they're at, right? Listening goes a long way. We have some really great resources at the college that we will get students connected with. So student engagement often runs for LGBTQ plus community talks and group things. They take trips. So there's lots of groups that way. They also run conversation partners for students who are learning English. So again, it's kind of tapping into resources. But from our first meeting with students, again, it's about meeting students where they're at. What would you add to that?
Yeah, and elaborating off of meeting students where they're at, we like to say, be curious, and we are not the holders of knowledge, all of the knowledge, especially when somebody is coming from a different country, or they're sharing their identity with us. We ask a lot of questions and give that person the space to create an environment that is welcoming, that is non-judgmental, that is full of compassion, because maybe they didn't experience that before meeting with us. And so I think it's also important that we acknowledge the intersection of the identities that students have when they come and see us. And so, yeah, I think that's adding to what it means for part of what it means for us to meet students with where they're at, and that we're seeing such a range of folks from not just place identity, but also age and life experience, and already students that have done education and they're continuing their education. So lots for us we have to navigate and understand by being curious and asking them questions.
Thank you very much. And can I just add this one piece to what you just said right now? Because this is a very diverse community that we are in. These are some of the noticeable things that we see about students, right? Let's talk about the what is not so noticeable. You could see a student who has a smile on his face or her face or their face, whatever the case may be, and you don't really know what they're going through. What are those struggles from your work experience? What are those struggles that students often go through that are not necessarily noticeable by others?
Yeah, it's a really interesting question just because the experiences of students aren't all the same. And I think it really one of the things that it can come down to is access to support and resources, and the barriers that come with trying to get to those places. And so that's not always very obvious when, especially in our role, we're trying to connect a student to a place. I think we've heard a lot of students feel really overwhelmed with where to start.
Exactly.
And I think it's that first step of breaking things down so the student has it's digestible for them to start. Here's where you start, and here's a step by step on how to get to the end. That's, I don't know if you would agree with that, but that's one of the things that I would.
And the reason I asked that question is because I think maybe it's like human factor, I don't know. People don't feel comfortable enough to ask for help, even though they know that there's help available, right? So sometimes we have to then dig a little extra to get to, what's happening with you? Are you okay? Is everything all right?
Yeah.
But it's also the piece of you who's going through that challenge, stepping up to say, you know what? I need help. I need support. Where can I find help? So my next question is this. Why do you think the students sort of push back, rather than seeking help, they push back, and sometimes they just run into themselves or run into their shells and they don't seek help?
Yeah.
Why do you think, and not just students, many people do that.
Yeah.
Why do you think that that's a thing?
Yeah. I think in some cases, culture comes into a play. Seeking help can be not encouraged by some. It's sometimes viewed as a weakness, for example. And so having that internal voice, it'd be very hard to overcome. I think. Go ahead.
Yeah, and there's a feeling of I don't want to be a burden.
Yes.
So I don't want to inconvenience, and you've already got so much on your plate. I don't want to add another thing, and that is a very common expression we hear a lot from students. And to be honest, like as a human being, I think I've felt that too. Of I don't want to be a burden to this person, because they probably already have so much that they're have so much in their life that they're dealing with. So I think there's cultural barriers, there's the internal feelings that they have.
There's also the social piece, right? Asking for help can be viewed as a weakness. And if you feel judged by your peers, for example, it's going to make it harder to reach out for help. And one of the things that we find too is sometimes there's invisible things that you might notice. So for example, maybe you notice a friend, maybe they're wearing the same clothes over and over, or maybe they're not as chatty, right? And so for us, you can like a faculty can refer to us, you could refer a peer to us, and you can self-refer to us as well. So for the care team especially, we try to make it, if you don't know where to go, you can come to us, right? So again, we've talked about being an open space, trying to be curious when we meet with people. It's to allow a place for students to, one, feel safe, but feel safe to share what they're going through. So there's no judgment, there's no expectations. That's a big goal for the care perspective.
Yeah, and I want to think about on something that I heard in one of the interviews I had with students late last year, and we were talking about the importance of. Okay, I was trying to ask to know what their thoughts were about a community, and well, graciously, or should I say, thankfully, most of them mentioned their classrooms, their faculty. So I'm grateful that that's very prevalent here. We could see that Conestoga has created a culture of care. Now, because you were the ones who were also championing this space, I'm going to ask you this one question. What can peers, faculty members, and others, people like us, do to support students, to provide support, even when it's not necessarily solicited for? How can we continue to ensure that we build on what we already have and amplify it?
It's always really uncomfortable to approach someone when you notice something is like Melissa said, I'm noticing something has changed. So whether you're more reserved or you are wearing the same clothes every day, and it just takes these subtle changes in a person's disposition or something maybe they share, and you get a sense of something is going on. And I think it's, again, going back to the curiosity, and that it's okay to ask a little bit more out of a place of, I really care about you. I may not have all the answers that right now, but I'm here to walk by your side to figure out where we can get those answers. And sometimes that's all it takes, is just somebody who notices, somebody who's can listen, and somebody that you don't have to have all the answers, but you're willing to take that extra step to get them to where they need to go. I agree with you.
You should have provided some context to my next question. I was going to ask you, what are those practical steps that a student can take or someone can take to help when you notice that someone is withdrawn, is not the usual self, they're out of sorts or something? And then you did provide that sometimes all it takes is just asking a little more, showing a little more concern. And I appreciate that. There's also a limitation to doing that. People believe that, I don't want to say the wrong thing. I don't want to overstep my bounds. I just want to, I love my peace. I'll keep my space, right? But how can we, as much as we want to create safe boundaries, healthy boundaries, still care for each other without crossing the line?
Yeah.
How should we do it? The thought of, I don't want to say the wrong thing, yet I want to be nice.
Yeah. That is definitely a reason for why somebody would be hesitant and draw back from it approaching. And to be honest, and maybe you can build on this, but I don't know that there is the perfect way to say it, and to say anything. And it may be more of, I noticed X, Y, Z, and I just want to check in. Is there something, if you want to talk about it, I'm here. And if you're not comfortable to talk about it with me here, I will find someone that you would feel more comfortable to talk with. And I think that's really all. It can be something along those lines. But it's sharing with that person, here's what I've noticed. Mm-hmm. And it kind of can build from there.
And I really like you said, I really like that you said it's not the perfect way of doing it, because sometimes we try to overthink things in our minds and try to say, okay, this should be the response. This is what I should say this way to get this response. But we're humans, and we're not built in a straight jacket form where this is how I should think. This is how no. So we should create room to accommodate people's differences. And someone might not understand what you mean when you say, oh, I'm doing this out of care. Nonetheless, do not stop caring because it's important. Perhaps they'll get it later on, but at that moment, keep doing what you're doing. I appreciate you for saying that. Now, what is a common myth around support services within this community that you'd like students to think differently about?
Sometimes when folks land with us, what they don't know is that reaching out to resources does not go on your transcript. So sometimes people think landing with counseling, landing with accessible learning, that'll go on their record, that'll go on their transcript. Oh, and that is a huge barrier to accessing support, because you're worried that you're going to have this stamp on your papers that say, I needed help with this. So that can be a barrier for sure.
Yeah. And adding to that, there's a lot of concern about, will my family find out? Will my faculty find out? And so we do explain to students the role of confidentiality and privacy. And similarly to what Melissa was saying about transcripts, for international students, they're worried about how that's going to affect their visa. And so we really hone in on this does not affect those. And that we're not going to initiate with your faculty or your family unless you were giving us consent to do that. So yeah, we make it a strong point to explain that to students.
Okay, that's great. And how important is early support? Because, we all need support at one point or the other, but we're talking about early support. How important is early support to the whole essence of being here is to succeed academically and otherwise? How important is early support to the life or the time frame of a student's success?
Yeah.
It makes a huge difference with for student success. And I think that's why with orientation, they do kind of throw all of these services at you, which can be quite overwhelming. And sometimes when folks land with us, it's not that pre-planning, it's the afterthought. So we often jump in a little later in their experience at the college.
Mm-hmm. I do just want to add that Melissa and I are part of, the care team is made up of multiple different areas at the college. And so a part of the role of our team is that we do intervene post early intervention, but also that we've noticed a lot of the support from the community at recognizing those earlier signs of early on in the semester, and refer them to the care team and those the folks that sit on the team. This could be a student that comes up later on, but it's someone we're already aware of. So like Melissa was saying, early intervention can make a very big difference from the start of the semester to the end of the semester. And we're often doing a lot more the crisis response where students are coming up later towards the end of the semester. But yeah, we've noticed faculty and peers notice early on to get support to the student, to their friend earlier on, where they by the end of the semester they're passing their courses, they're connected to resources. So yeah, I think kind of elaborating off of what Melissa.
That's awesome. And I know that care has some sort of chain. So there's you who's going through the challenge. There's maybe parents, family support, mentors, you and a couple of other community members all around to provide support for this one person. Now, if we're to speak to the mentors, the parents, and other stakeholders within this circle, what would be your advice to helping them understand how to help the younger people prepare to be more resilient, more self-aware, and of course, more confident navigating challenges?
Mm-hmm.
Going back to your earlier comment around early intervention, we have had parents refer their child to us for additional support. And so I think as somebody who isn't necessarily at the college, but wanting to support a family friend, somebody in their life who is at the college, it can be difficult to navigate what supports are available, but exploring the website, that can be helpful. Helping the student, again, going back to somebody who might have disabilities, helping the student to get registered with Accessible Learning before the term starts can make a big difference. Or going back to our international folks, if, a student later on in the term has a housing crisis, we're there to support, but family members can flag that. Family members can support navigating that difficulty.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I would also say that encouraging asking for help and like Melissa was saying, them being aware of what support is available to them, and normalizing that it's okay that we have to add to the network of support, I think, so that that you don't have to do it alone. I think it really breaks down those barriers of students maybe feeling that burden, that they have to do it all on their own.
I think just knowing that somebody cares about you goes a long way.
Yes. Okay, so let's talk about your website a little more. It's on the college's website. Where do we find it? What resources are available on there? What information do students need to be aware of as they try to reach you?
The Student Success Portal is always a great place for students to start. Resources are there, links to resources, links to booking appointments are there. Our referral form is there. And so that's how students land with us, is through a referral form. As I mentioned, that referral form can be filled out by a faculty, a support staff, you if you have a concern about a student, a parent, a friend, yourself. People have self-referred as well. So through the Student Success Portal is where we're found by students. Now, people in the community can find us through our corporate website as well. Again, they can access the referral form there.
It's been great speaking with you, Melissa, Rudy, and Lauryn Kwong, case managers of our CAD team here at Conestoga College. I learned a lot, and I can tell you for a fact, when students experience care themselves, they are more likely to extend that care to others, creating a ripple effect that strengthens the entire college culture. And if I could summarize some of the takeaways from this conversation today, I would say everyone needs one form of support or the other, including me. We shouldn't be uncomfortable to ask for support, and we fully give support. It's those small acts that build a foundation for a healthy, vibrant, and inclusive community. It's been great speaking with you both. Thank you for being here today, and until next time.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
We'll take a break now. When we return, the show continues. Stay tuned. Great storytelling never goes out of style. Whether it was told many years ago or today, every now and then, it's worth looking back to see just how far we have come and share the stories or experiences that shaped us. This is Rewind, a fresh segment on Your Conestoga Today, where we take you back to standout projects created by our broadcast students. Episode made then, but still relevant today. Our first story today unravels the danger of neglecting the proper use of seatbelts. Now, seatbelts remain the single most effective safety feature in cars. Studies show that wearing a seatbelt can reduce the risk of serious injury or death by nearly 50% in a crash. In Canada, proper seatbelt use lowers the risk of fatal injuries by approximately 47% and serious injuries by over 50%. Now, despite this, a significant number of people killed in vehicle collisions each year were not wearing seatbelts at the time of impact. Airbags, designed to deploy in 30 to 40 milliseconds, provide critical protection by cushioning the head and chest during collisions. However, safety experts emphasize that airbags are designed to work with seatbelts, not as replacements. Without a seatbelt, occupants may be thrown forward or into improper positions, reducing the effectiveness of airbags and increasing the risk of severe injury. Certain common habits can make crashes far more dangerous. One of the most serious things is resting feet on the dashboard. In the event of a collision, an airbag deploying at high speed can force the legs backward toward the face or chest, potentially causing devastating injuries, including fractures, internal injuries, or paralysis. Improper seatbelts use, such as wearing it under the arm, behind the back, or loosely, can also significantly reduce protection. Now, in practical terms, watch this.
Okay, for you people that don't wear seatbelts, just so you know, I want you to flash your eyes as quickly as you can. Did you know before you can blink your eyes, an airbag has deployed and is already deflating before you can blink your eyes? They can be the best thing to save your life. But if you do not use all the safety things you have, like a seatbelt, it works with the airbag. You have to work everything together. I don't think you'll do it after you see what happens. Okay? And what we're going to do, we're going to start from 10. 10!
There's a magic to winter despite its intense and sometimes unpleasant snowing and icy cold. The magic is outdoors. The crisp cold air, the white snowy plain, getting out can be fun and physically rewarding. Now, our reporter Michael Redcoop took a trip to Chicopee and shared some fun ways to experience winter rather than endure it.
Now I know a lot of us find it easier to become lazy and inactive by the time winter rolls around, but I'm here in Kitchener at Chicopee Ski Hill to let you know that that's not the case. Whether it's tubing, skiing, or snowboarding, there's something here for everyone of all skill levels. So make sure you get up, get out there, and get active.
Snowboarding came to be from the idea of a young fella by the name Sherman Poppin in 1964, while he was dreaming about surfing the beautiful Rocky Mountain landscape. The following year it was put into production, and 10 years later, over 10 million were sold. Today, snowboarding is a popular sport that's attended the Winter Olympics since 1998. It's featured at the X Games, and is still the fastest growing winter sport in North America.
So I'm out here standing at Chicopee Ski Hill with Michael Fox. Michael, how are you?
Good, how you doing, Michael?
I'm doing excellent.
Right
so
on.
what is the best way to know how to size up our equipment?
For length of your snowboard, general rule of thumb is between your nose and your chin. I like mine a little shorter. For beginners, chin and nose, somewhere, if you put it on the ground, if it comes up close to your chin or your nose, pretty sweet, man. We're gonna push front foot first. That's it, keep coming.
Go ahead,
Up the hill just like this. Have a seat. Yeah. So Michael, what we're gonna do, we're gonna walk on our hands, get a little speed, and then we're slowly gonna stand up. Equal weight on both feet, I'll show you, and then I'll come up and help you through it.
Alrighty, cool.
Okay? Okay, Michael,
So much.
we're gonna start cruising around.
Getting the hang of it. So that was our day at Chicopee Ski Hill with Mike Fox. Thank you very much for those lessons. They were really informative.
Hope you had fun. Come on back out and take another lesson, man.
You'll see me again.
Yeah, right on.
That instinct to instantly cut up a piece of bread, cookie, or fruit to feed those cute animals at the park isn't welcome. That's me speaking for the birds. We appreciate your generosity to want to share your food with animals, but the danger behind it outweighs the gesture. Alex Lennox, visited Waterloo Park some years ago and encourages everyone to read the signs at the park. Animals are on a special diet. No human diets, please.
Hi everyone, my name is Alex Lennox and I'm your host for Make a Change. Today we're here at Waterloo Park. Today we are here at Waterloo Park to check out the negative effects of feeding animals human food. So let's go get our expert advice. Hello, I'm here with Jacqueline Salome at Waterloo Park. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Pretty good. So can you tell us exactly what your duties are here?
I take care of the animals, so every morning I go around to each pen, feed them, clean out their barns, clean out some other inappropriate objects around. Basically, that's what we do in the winter. It's a lot slower than in the summer when we have a lot more animals, so it's pretty low-key.
So tell us why it's such a hazard for people to feed the ducks here at Waterloo Park.
Most people feed the ducks bread. That's kind of everyone's go-to. And what can actually happen when ducks ingest bread is that the bread can expand in like their esophagus and parts of their digestive system and clog it up. So that can cause them to suffocate and essentially die. Doesn't always happen, but can happen. So it's very dangerous to be feeding them things that they're not supposed to be eating.
Have you ever had to tell someone to stop feeding the animals?
Yep, we have signs up around all of the pens, but sometimes they aren't seen or are just blatantly ignored. So all of the city workers have basically had an experience where you've had to tell someone to stop feeding the animals.
Well, let's go interact with some animals. I am here with a miniature horse and a miniature donkey, and one kind of decided he wasn't really in the mood to be on camera today.
This one's Lollipop, and our donkey here is Shelby.
So Lollipop and Shelby, and what about the one who kind of just gave up on us?
That's Moonbeam.
Can you tell me about what exactly is on their diet list?
Their diets are strictly hay. They don't eat oats because we do have issues with them getting overweight when they're eating a diet like that. Plus, when people are feeding them in the park, that's a supplement that they don't necessarily need. So yeah, they are strictly vegetarian hay eaters.
I love my job. So I'm here with
Beverly and Becky.
So how long have you guys been coming to Waterloo Park?
Probably at least 8 years.
Are you guys aware of the dangers of feeding the animals human food? Like the ducks bread? Do you guys see lots of signs around Waterloo Park? Do you think a lot of people are made aware of?
A couple people feeding some of the animals like carrots or something, but that's about it.
Next time you find yourself at your local park and you want to feed these cute little guys, don't. These guys are on a strict, healthy diet. They don't need your human food. So, my name is Alex Lennox, and this is Make a Change.
Careers are constantly evolving as industry grow, technologies change, and new job titles emerge. What drives career choices? Interest? How lucrative a profession is, or a pre-exposed experience or availability? Alison Zexpisi speaks to an automobile engineer to find out about his motivation for the profession.
Hi, I'm Kelsey Espenson, and this is Career Connection. Today we're looking at the automotive technician career. And Jeremy's gonna help me change this tire. My hands are already dirty, so let's get going. I'm here with Jeremy Herget, owner and operator of Herget's Auto Tech. And you're a mechanic, and how long have you been doing that for?
25 years.
And when did you start?
Right out of high school. I actually did a co-op program through St. Jerome's in grade 11 and 12, and they offered me a job as soon as I was finished and an apprenticeship, and ever since then I've been wrenching cars.
And so what's your favorite job to do as a mechanic?
I think diagnostics is very challenging, and it's a big reward in that when you find out a problem that's maybe other shops haven't been able to figure out. There's good, big satisfaction in finding something that's not easy to find.
What is diagnostic for those of us who just don't really understand cars?
Well, before computers were really, even the early models with the early computer versions were not very good. Like they'd give us some codes, but not many. So a lot of times we just had to go on our basic knowledge of how an engine works. Okay, what is it doing? It's a hesitation. Okay, is it lack of fuel? Is it lack of air? You just start, picking away at, is it a plugged air filter, plugged fuel filter? Before the computers got really good, we had to go with the basics. Yeah, growing up with a dad who was always restoring cars, fixing cars. Of course, I was always in there, doing whatever I could. It just seemed like a natural fit, and I always enjoyed fixing things, taking them apart, see how they worked. So.
All right, so now that we've chatted a bit, we're gonna
get you working on a car.
Oh, really?
It wears out. So when this pad here, the steel plate gets really close, we know they're almost worn. One good shot and let go, so it's just going spinning out of control. You ready?
How do I just...
Done. Normally I would check the other side as well. Yeah. Today we'll just do the two.
Yeah, that helped, kinda. So now that we've looked at the career of automotive technician, our hands are dirty. We're going to be joining you next week. I'm Kelsey Espenson, and this is Career Connection.
Well, that's our package for you today. Thank you for joining us on your community show, Your Conestoga Today, and your host, Mamuzo Nwokoro. Happy New Year again to you, and I hope that you make this year your best year yet. Until next time, have a good day and be safe. Bye-bye.